Hey guys, so in today's video I'm going to do sort of a first impressions application of the Bare Minerals Ready Foundation SPF 20, and also I'm going to use the brush that goes with it, which is the Precision Face Brush. I'm also going to be showing you, I mean it's not a big deal, but I'm going to sort of pair it with some of the new products that I picked up recently, the Bare Skin Perfecting Veil and the blush called The One, literally. So a lot of Bare Minerals products, and I usually wait and do foundation demos and reviews and stuff until after I've had them for a while. I'm very big on that, but I was going to use it today for the first time, and I thought, why not just film it using it for the first time, because if I run into problems or if anything strange happens or if I figure, well, this isn't working, or I just thought I would just do a first impressions thing, and then of course I'll follow up later in the month and stuff. I may even film a little blurb for the end of the video to kind of share with you how it wore throughout the day. That's a good idea. A couple things before we get started. I would strongly recommend that if you're gonna try this, or especially this, or any Bare Minerals products, that you actually go and get matched. Ulta carries them, Sephora carries them, but if you are near a Bare Minerals boutique, I would say it is worth the trip to go, even if it's a little out of the way, because the people there are pretty much like, I mean, that's all they do. Like, they're experts in that and how to apply it and how to find you your right color. I had tried this in the past, not to the point where I was comfortable applying it, just to the point where I bought it, put a little on, and thought, oh god, I look like a psycho, because it was too dark. I feel like with a powder foundation, you really have to get your color right, because it's, even to me, more difficult to work with a powder foundation when it's not the right color than it is to work with like a liquid that you can maybe blend a little better. Some people may disagree, but powder foundations can be really tricky anyways to get them to look natural and everything, and I do feel like this one, I mean, I just applied it, but I feel like it looks really good. So I would say with this stuff, you really have to get your right color. You can't really go too light and you can't really go too dark. I would say you really just have to match your skin. I don't think this is one that you could say, you know, one day I'll go a little darker, one day I'll go a little lighter, because I find that when it's too light, it just looks apparent, and when it's too dark, it obviously looks apparent, but it just doesn't blend and it doesn't look good. So this, I would strongly suggest to expect to just get in the color that matches your skin. This is going to be a full, like, whole how I would do the entire foundation application. I'm not just gonna pick this up and use this product only. I'm gonna show you how I would pair this with a concealer, how I would, you know, the order that I would apply different things, because you cannot use this completely on its own, especially if you have skin issues or anything like that, which I do. I have a lot of discoloration. So, and we'll get into that more in the demo. So I hope they all enjoy it. I'm doing just, you know, like I said, a little different. I will try to come back toward the end of the day and sort of film a little blurb and tell you how it worked out. So if you're curious about this product, hopefully this will help you out. Okay, so I'm starting off with my concealer, and I'm just using a liquid, because when you use a powder, it's better, I think, to use your concealer first. Even though you're going to buff it over a little, you can always go back and touch up afterwards if the buffing and the blending like knocks off any concealer. Normally, if I was going to do like a liquid foundation, I would do my concealer afterwards. But it is a little different. And I'm using the Makeup Forever Full Cover in number 3. And I'm just applying that with an F84, so it's an F86 brush. Very thin. I'm not covering everything. I'm just getting, you know, and I'm not putting it all over my face. I'm just getting the worst of the discoloration. And I always say this, but concealer totally exists for a reason. I think everyone should use it, because your foundation is not meant to cover every single thing. And if you use it like that, you're going to end up looking a little cakey, because you're probably going to apply way too much to try to cover every little thing, when that's what concealer's for. So I think concealer is pretty essential no matter what you're doing. And not perfect, but it just covers, but I still, you know, I'm still uneven and everything, but it covers the majority of what you need to, and this is a really good concealer for that. So I'd say if you use a powder foundation, this concealer, this Makeup Forever Full Cover, is pretty essential, because It sets really well. It feels like it's waterproof. It's a lot like the Matte Velvet Plus foundation, but just a lot of coverage. I'll go ahead and do my under eye concealer as well. And for that, I'm gonna use the MAC Radiant Rose. And this is a new one. And for that, I'm just using that same brush. I'm just going around. I don't like to use the Makeup Forever under my eyes because it's a little thick. This one just sets really nicely and the tone is really good. And I put that a little bit on my brow bone. I think that's what you have to understand. This isn't like a one-step thing that is just gonna do everything. You still have to use your concealers. That's just as much of a part of it. So, and then I'm using the Precision face brush that they sell with it. Don't swirl it in, don't swipe it. You literally just take it and you press it like that. And then you start buffing. Like I said, and then as you need to pick up more, you just pick up more. I can already see it's covering a lot. Like, that's pretty cool. Like I said, this is the first time that I've used this one in my correct shade. And then again, just press, and then the areas where you've really put a lot of concealer, areas that you might be breaking out or anything like that, just sort of dab it like that. And then lightly in little strokes, sort of buff it out so that you don't knock off all of your concealer. So just press again, get more on my forehead, and just swirl. And that covers like crazy. Like I even put concealer up there and it's really not coming off. So I probably could have done that same thing on my chin. I'm pretty impressed. Like I said, I have used this before, so this isn't like, wow, the first time I've ever used it. I don't believe I was applying it this way before though. I think I was probably not using the brush correctly. Really natural. It's covered pretty much everything. It's pretty impressive. But I think like any product that, like I've said, the color can just totally really mess you up. So just like you would with the regular, just blend and blend. And just keep building if you find that you need a little more coverage. It's pretty good. I do really like this shade. This is exactly my skin tone. It's not lighter, it's not darker. I think with a powder foundation, if you go too light or you go too dark, it can kind of ruin it. So I'm really not applying more. I'm just sort of blending the heck out of it I always do that when I do foundation tutorials. I just kind of overblend. But I haven't done my eyebrows yet, so I'm kind of going over those. I do like this brush. I would say this brush is pretty essential. My lips were driving me nuts, so I went ahead and did those. I used the Native and Naked 2 lipstick mixed together by Urban Decay. So, using my IT bronzer. I really am not a huge fan of the Bare Minerals bronzers. I don't know, I just haven't been a huge fan of those. Then I put a little on my chin. We're just warming up our skin tone and contouring just a little. And then I'm going to use the blush in the One. And that's just a pressed blush, so it's just, again, it's not doing anything weird. It's just working nicely over the finish of the foundation. For first impressions, like, I feel like there wasn't a whole big like learning curve. I feel like a lot of times when I first use a foundation, I'm like, okay, that didn't work or this didn't work. But it was very simple, and I feel like a lot of that has to do with the fact that I was in the store and watched her do it on my friend, and then she did it on me. Blend around that. So I would very strongly suggest going to a store if you are gonna get Bare Minerals makeup, because they'll match you really well. They pretty much, that's all they do, so they're pretty much experts in that. So I think that's a good idea. And then I'll use a little bit of my Ethereal Light by Hourglass, just as I sort of always do with my foundations. I have a little broken capillary right there that still hasn't gone away, but I don't really care about covering that completely. I'm still going to do my eyes, and I will spare you that, and I'm going to do my brows and stuff. Oh, but one more thing, I would suggest using a setting powder. Even though you've used this powder foundation, I wouldn't suggest using a ton of something over that's really heavy, but this Bare Skin Perfecting Veil is pretty awesome, and I don't think I would even ever go back to the Pressed Mineral Veil, because I have that as well, which I used to really like, but this one is just so much smoother and just looks so much better. So I just kind of pressed that as well, and I'm using my Real Techniques powder brush, which is pretty good for setting your makeup. And you see I'm not like buffing it in, I'm just literally pressing it on areas where you usually find that you need to set your makeup or touch up. So the last several days that I've used this, I've found that it has really held up well. My makeup has stayed looking really nice, so I think that's a good product no matter if you use Bare Minerals or not, because I've been using it over my Dior Star. So I'm going to do my eyes and then I will be right back. So I did my eyes, I used the Clinique Black Honey eyeshadow all over my lid. Really pretty. I would highly recommend that. I really loved it. And then I used a little bit of this darker color of this Dior in the number 796 quad. Quint. Everybody was like, call it a quint in my last video, because I always want to call it a quad, but there's 5 colors. You just never hear people calling eyeshadows quints, so I just, or at least I don't, so that sounds bizarre to me. So it's just going to be the palette. I used a little bit of my Kat Von D liquid liner, and I used the new Armani mascara that I talked about in the latest video. I forgot what it's called. Those are my first impressions as far as like application goes, and I really thought it was super, super easy. It really made my skin look pretty, and I really, really like it. That was just the first impressions, how I would apply it. It's just very simple. So I think that brush is pretty key though, and I think you could get away with using your Sigma F40 as well, or F80 as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you do try this out, I cannot stress enough how important it is to go to a store and get matched, because the wrong color will totally make it look like crap. So I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.